came up with a paper that basically invented transformer. So when you give, before that, if you gave a chatbot a sentence, this is my cat, chatbot had no idea that my and this is referring to the cat. Like you would know that because you're human, you have context. But code doesn't have context. So in transformers, they actually get this. They literally have something called self-attention that does exactly that. That knows that when you say this and my, it is referring to the cat. So then it gets better context and we can actually understand in machine sense what are you telling it, like what is happening. So transformers add meaning, add context, which we desperately need in AI. Happening. So transformers add meaning, add context, which we desperately need in AI. How does the generative part work? How do we get the actual generation? So we have our LLMs. I'm going to get off now. No, don't go. Okay. So we have our architecture. No, we don't have architecture. Okay, we're back. We have the Paris of the city, input text, and you as a human, with all of your experience in life, you would say Paris is the city of love, because you know context. LLMs don't know context, so how do they work? Tokenizer, which basically cut this up into little tokens, which sometimes can be words, sometimes just characters, depends. And it does make them into numbers. Computers work with numbers, not words. Oh, no. Was this happening when I was talking to? Or no?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, it is what it is, I'm sorry. These numbers then go into our LLMs, which is made of transformers, etc., neural networks, and it spits up a lot of mathematics, which I'm not going to go into, obviously. Then it spits up some logics, then go to softmax, and we get some probabilities. So we basically get like this blue table, let's say, with some tokens. You see of, that, where, within, and you can also see that it kind of makes sense to be a next token of this. Like each one of these makes sense to be the completion of this. But we see that the most probable one is off. Because our LLM read so many data, it knows that the most probable thing is Paris, the city of love. So it learns our context through that, through math. It's basically math. Okay, I'm gonna try not to touch this so it doesn't get all dangly. Okay, what else do they have, like modern AI things? What do they have today? Retrieval augmented generation, which basically is knowledge. Your LLM in runtime can now access some knowledge. It can be websites, it can be files, anything, to give you better answers. So you ask a question, it does a smart search with all the data. This data, it's not like a phone book. It's vectorized. What does that mean? One thing you should always remember, that if somebody mentioned vectors, it's always about context, in AI at least. In maths, more or less. It's always about context, because you have this huge space of vectors, and every sentence, every word is represented in billion vectors, and it has context. It catches context. What does it actually mean? So it queries that, and it retrieves the most relevant things to your question. So it's not just, it doesn't retrieve everything. There's infinite amount of data in the web and everything. It uses some kind of similarities, again maths, to retrieve the most relevant data for your question. Then it uses that to actually give you a better answer. So it doesn't just, it has its knowledge, which was pre-trained, but this is happening runtime, and it actually gets you better answers. And one more important thing to know about AI agents and AI in general is MCP, founded and represented by Nootropic, or Cloud Code, basically. Before MCP, what are MCPs? If you're doing any kind of coding, MCPs are like APIs for your code. So it's basically how you communicate with the outside of the world. Before that, for each of these, you need to have unique API. How are you going to communicate with this? MCP standardized this. After this, you have unified API, and you have unified way how you actually talk to all of these applications, so you can actually focus on implementing a bunch of stuff instead of figuring out how to connect to GitHub or Google Drive or anything. So with this, you have some servers, you have some lookups, and then you can connect very, very fast and get actually data from the outside world that you need. Then you can all, this is all economics. Like you use this, then you use RAG that we just saw. Use everything to get the best possible answer. So here we see how an AI agent works. You ask it a question, it has inside the LLM our regular database, which is like a phone book more or less, and our vector database, again, context and meaning. With that, it performs some kind of action. Action, again, it can be with MCP, it can be writing an email, which we're going to do today, basically. All that goes into data flywheel, which then learns. So your AI agent, with working, it learns, it updates itself, its knowledge, which is always a good thing. So it's basically like a smart parrot. It learns, it repeats the stuff. Sometimes it can say the wrong thing, sometimes right thing, you can never know. But it learns and it can talk to you, it can talk to that basically. So let's go to actual view. Okay. I'm not used to this chair, I'm sorry. Let's build our actual own GPT. Okay. So we're gonna see what is happening with this. I'm gonna open my ChatGPT in a second. But what we're gonna build today, you can build a bunch of. So I should start this differently. What is a custom GPT? You have ChatGPT, which is not custom. It's general. You can answer questions about law, swimming, animals, food, etc. But what if you want something more personalized and something that just knows what should it do without you telling it every time? For example, I really love swimming. I train swimming, not professionally, but I train swimming, and I use ChatGPT to consult about my swimming training. So I don't want every time when I start a new chat to tell it, yeah, I like swimming, do this, I like this swimming styles. No, I'm gonna make a custom ChatGPT, just GPT, the custom version, where I'm gonna put all this, and every time I start a new thing, it's gonna know what to do. So it's custom to your needs. It can be a swimming trainer, it can be here like an email assistant, it can be event planner, and you can customize it to your actual needs. So you can actually do what you want it to do without having to explain it 7,000 times all over again what you want it to do. So it's a pretty neat thing, and it can help you. And this is a very nice way to start building AI without going into code, into writing RAG, into connecting with MCP, because this is pretty automatized. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a Gmail assistant, which is pretty useful. Imagine you receive hundreds of emails a day. This can really help you, which can do what? Checks and summarizes your unread emails, clarifying their urgency, useful. It can draft replies. It can extract tasks from emails and save them to Google Tasks, so you can have your tasks from your emails, again, very useful. And it can never send anything unless you explicitly approve it. So, yeah, again, with AI systems, you never know. It might send something, so, but it shouldn't. Let's try not to make it. Okay. No. I'm done. So, and I'm done here. Okay. No, where's my? No, did it go away? Okay. So, okay, I'm back. I'm gonna put this like this. Okay. So we have our ChatGPT. What's on your mind today? Well, a lot of things. Okay. Let's see. Here you have your typical ChatGPT, and here you have your GPTs. When you go here to explore, by the way, you already have some custom ones. So before making your own, you can always, you can make your own either way, even if one exists. But you can always check out what already exists in custom GPTs if you can just use something. So hopefully this will load. Come on, internet. So how are you today? No, come on. No, don't play with me right now. We have Wi-Fi. We should. Okay, this is concerning. Does it work with others? Yeah, why not with this? Okay, so here I'm gonna you. Okay. Ah, smart. So what should be here is basically a bunch of custom GPTs. For example, here you have humanizer. I use that a lot. I write text, sound natural and human while keeping your meaning intact. So stuff like that. You can have a bunch of different GPTs for a bunch of things. So you go to create. Now, here you can create your own. You have two modes. You can go to create mode and you can just write and say, yeah, I want a swimming trainer or a Gmail assistant that's gonna do this, and it can do it for you, obviously. Since you can do that on your own and you would just be wasting your time sitting here and seeing me do that, I'm gonna go to this fun mode, configure, where you actually configure everything on your own. So once we go here, name your GPT, email assistant. Okay, very creative name, I know. So now let's see what we have first. We have description, which is basically the thing you saw in a humanizer. So I'll have this. Like I write human text. Here we will have some description today to give us an overview. What will this chat GPT? Oh my god! What will this GPT do? Which is like not influencing how does it work. It's just for us. Instructions, very important thing. This tells our ChatGPT what does this GPT do? How does it behave? What should it avoid doing? This is one of the most important things that we're gonna do here. And it's very crucial to do it right. We'll go back to that in a second. Conversation starters, again, this is something that will pop up here. That will basically just give us some conversation starters to go ahead and how to use our model. Knowledge. Now, this is back context. So for example, for my email planning, I don't need any files, but if you want to make an event planner, you can put your previous events as files here. So GPT can actually see what kind of events do you want to have and focus on that to have more context. For R today, we don't need it, but it's useful to know. Recommended model, you can recommend one, user can use what they want. Capabilities. So web search, apps, canvas, image generation, code interpreter. What do we do? No. By the way, you have candy here too. Please take the candy. I cannot take candy by Jelena, please. I'm gonna try to touch the table very, very lightly. It doesn't really. Okay, so we have capabilities. RGPT can do web search, apps, which for me is blocked, which is in beta version, canvas, image generation, and code interpreter. When you're working with emails, you can leave web search. Maybe it needs to look for some information. Canvas, so that you can actually then, if it writes you an email, you can edit it directly in Canvas. Image generation, I feel like we don't need this for our email assistant. And code interpreter, I'm hoping you're not coding in your email, so I'm gonna check this out. So capabilities. And at the end, last but not least, actions. This is MCP. This is how you connect with outside world. It's basically how you write some code. We will see how. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to write it, ChatGPT will. And it will connect to the outside world, or in our case with Gmail and Google Tasks. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you how I got to fill out all these fields. I have them all already filled out. If you want, I can add that link to that file in the presentation and send it to Pablo. He can then share it with you if you want to actually follow this step by step. How I did it, I literally went to ChatGPT and I told it, I want to make an email assistant. What would be a good description? What would be good conversation starters? Those are the things that like just users see. You don't really have to change them up too much. What I do want to give you my feedback and focus on are instructions. And I'm going to tell you how I did actions. So basically, now I'm going to open. Don't look. This is classified. I'm just kidding. You can look. Okay. So this is a file that has basically every field. Don't get scared. This is just a copy. So basically, I mean, I would have.
There's no screen view.
Vaya, está por ahí. No lo tengo tan claro.
¿Eso pasa o no? ¿Suele pasar eso o no?
En algunas no lo fui al concurso.
¿Abrir o no abrir?
No sabía que se estaba resuelto.
Yo creo que muy está dejando por aquí. Pero claro, no sé.
Lo compré ayer, entonces no se puede ser que es una fruta.
No, bien, mira.
Tiene más de piso. Pero programa. Es que lo que hay de cliente. Viví un año y tengo por ahora es muy buena. Pero tampoco
Sí, bastante claro. Pero sigue siendo. Es el 2.
Será lo moderno, porque tanto no tiene sacaban el 4 y
Claro, duda.
Yo creo que es mío. Pero
Pablo, te voy a decir una cosa para que no digo que esta sala es tan corta en la cabeza que no funciona. Es que les pregunté expresamente si estaba en resuelto. Que les pregunté expresamente si estaba en resuelto y me dijeron sí. Pero tú dijimos una presentación que me va a rotar la cabeza y luego meterlo boca abajo y funcionar.
ya, pero no. Sabía que son tan conectados.
Como siempre, que la parte de le preguntaron, oye, ¿este programa mental de conceptos? Sí, sí, sí. Es que ahora... Otra vez.
Pero porque no se lo importante. Claro, pero no sé. Es raro que siempre lo falla, que siempre grabo
Bienvenidos a vivo, la verdad.
Esto me ha recordado a un guía que se lo mandaba a mis compañeros cuando le hago la universidad.
Aunque la aplicarse todo lo que es la constitución es mala, pero las cosas que son
Y lo mando por el puto grupo de todo el equipo. No, escúchame, o sea,
Ahí está todo, para ver las energías, madurado, pero muy potente. Bueno, media hora, oye.
De hecho, otro ejemplo. La empresa de es una colección de cuando ve todo autor hay uno de los 1998 obviamente obviamente ese lo creo cuando
Bueno, algunos, pero tienen alternativas. Bueno, pues ponéis la alguna cantidad
No sé cómo va la despedida.
¿Se puede entrar? Hay un árbol. Sí, sí, pero...
El de la tele, vale.
ese cambio ya solo vale para darle la vida a Juan.
Okay. Okay, let's try to pick up where we left off. Okay, so we have our GPTs. Oh, now it moves. Okay, so here you can see some that already exist, but let's go to creating our own. So as we said, email assistant will be the one that we're meant to take. And as I said, I would very much like to now go through all this process with you, how I got to this. It's literally just talking to ChatGPT, but since we don't have a lot of time, and I don't think that's really useful to you just watching me talk to ChatGPT, I will take this that I have. No, maybe it just doesn't like this file.
Y si falla de nuevo lo ponemos aquí. Ha vuelto.
No, pero es que creo que de verdad es de este. No, solo no funciona con este. Que con todo esto,
Ahí sí va.
que no funciona con esto.
Y por eso que tiene que renderizar mucho en blanco y sacar el tratamiento. Por eso.
Okay.
Porque el bolo tiene blanco. Claro, yo no tengo que poner mucha más letras en el icono. Porque si lo he hecho así.
Okay, for some reason, the file with everything doesn't want to load. It just stops when I open the file. So if you want the file, I will send it to the organizers. They can send it to you, and you can see it. It's all ready to use. But I will now open the file and try to copy things so you can actually see them. So first, we have our description, which is basically just what we see when we have our GPT. How did I get this? I asked ChatGPT, I have this email assistant, I wanted to do this, this, and this. I basically copied this to my GPT and I said, write me a description that I can put into my GPT. And this works good. Conversation starters, I'm gonna put only one. You can put as many as you want. No, not this. So I'm gonna put just this one. And wait, I'm gonna try to open my notes and copy everything there just so I don't have to. No. Oopsie. Okay, I'm gonna try to try this. Okay, so we can see the notes at least. So this is how the file looks like. Description, already have. We have some conversation starters, or we don't. Let's see. Okay. Which can be check my unread emails, summarize, etc., whatever it can do, whatever you want it to be a starter. Then we have instructions, which I'm going to go back to in a moment. And then we have actions. Okay. So, argument model, we said that we're not gonna touch. Files, we don't have any, and we have now actions and instructions. So, let's copy instructions. How did I get this? I literally asked GPT to write me instructions based on what they wanted. And then this I actually read very carefully and did my best to maybe change it up if I didn't think it was good enough. So we have here a lot of things. I'm gonna put this like this. Okay. Is it visible? Well, not that much. They have to amplify it. I hate this laptop, by the way. Okay. So when we draft a prompt, it's very important how we talk to our AI, because talking it the wrong way can have very different consequences. You can ask any AI the same thing with two different ways, and you will get very, very different answers. So you need to be careful how you talk to AI. What is important when giving it a message? First thing that's important is a persona or role, which basically defines who model should be, how it should behave. Should it be a senior analyst? Should it be what should it be? How should it behave? Should it answer flirty or intelligently or professionally, etc.? So here we have your email triage assistant. Your purpose is to help the user process email safely and efficiently. That is our role. Then we have tasks or objectives, which are basically what the model should do, exploring a concept or generating ideas. So this is our task. You can check recent emails when asked, summarize each email, classify, etc., what we wanted to actually do. Context, which provides background information for the model to understand the situation. This is basically the knowledge files. If you have something, then it should be put into knowledge files mostly, but it's basically the context around your AI. Instructions describe how to do the task. So we have task that is what is the task actually, what you should do, and this is describing how to do it. So it's this. When summarizing emails, include sender, blah, blah, blah. Use these urgency levels. If an email needs a response, offer a draft reply in professional tone. How you should do things that are defined in a task. Constraints, which sets limits or rules. The word style, style restrictions, sources, etc. So, for example, constraints are before sending any email, show the full draft and ask for the explicit approval. So, constraints, what you should not do, what you absolutely have to, and also core rules. These are also constraints. Never send, archive, delete, label anything, etc., etc. And finally, the output format. This is especially useful if you want to have, like, for example, a JSON output. This is how you would define it. Here we just say that be concise, structured, and action-oriented. So we don't need it to return our email in JSON format or in whatever else format, XML, etc. So this is something that's very important. It's some basis of prompt engineering without going into too much details. And this is how our instructions are done. So we have that here. And now we have an action. So action, I said that it's MCP. It's basically our protocol, how we actually talk to outside apps and environments. What do we have here? We have authentication. If you want to connect with any app that kind of needs your profile or private data, you need to authenticate, which is basically connecting safely with that. We will need that for Gmail, obviously. And then we have our schema. Here you have something called Get Help from Actions GPT. What is it? I'm going to open it so you can see it. So, helps you create open API specification from documentation, code examples, commands, etc. This is what I use to get my long, wait. I'm going to copy now so you can see it in the actions. Long list of actions. So, could not parse. What do you mean could not parse? Format. No, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Wait, where is my thing? Okay. Trying again. This is the thing with AI. You never know what's going to pop up. The best thing you can do when something like this happens is to not... Sometimes just, it's like counters. You start, you wait 10 seconds, and you start again. That is AI version of copying. You just copy again. Okay. So what is this basically? It's a schema. How do we work with our outside world? Now this is a schema which is in this language, YAML. I'm hoping it sounds like that, YAML. Do you need to understand what's happening here? I do suggest yes, understanding everything that's happening when you're making something, but do you really need to understand? Not really. You can, if it works, and it's not something that can destroy your laptop, which in this case is not, it has a very limited scope of what it can actually go to, it's fine. So what does it do? It defines these available actions that you can see. We can have name, list and read messages, which is get method. This is the path of this method, and then we can test it. We're gonna go get testing in a moment. So basically, these are the actions that our GPT can do. It can go to our Gmail and says, it can say, get me message, get me a threaded message, create drafts, send drafts, etc. This is all defined here. Now, if you have time and you're interested, you can go and sit this and walk this through. If not, take my word that it works. I mean, you will see if it works. Okay, authentication. Here we're gonna do this type of authentication because we don't have an API key. And what is this? So basically, how I suggest doing this is using Google Cloud Console. But this is my personal account, by the way. So I already did this because it can take some time to set up, but I'm going to show you the slides how you can set it up. And I sent the slides to the organizer so they can share it with you if you want to try. How to set up your authentication. This is on your Gmail end. So this is you allowing OpenAI to access your Gmail accounts and your Gmail and Google Tasks and actually make some modifications. So tread lightly. And this also can be used not just for AI, OpenAI, it can be used for more or less any application for any project that you want to do. This is not my first time doing it, not my first rodeo, so that's why I'm telling you. So how does it work? When you go to Google Cloud, you go to this console thing, and then it opens up this kind of dashboards for you where you make a new project. This project, you just added the name, organization, doesn't really matter, you create it. Then in notifications, you pop up that you have new projects. You can see I actually practiced this. You see, I have many email assistants done. So I tried. I did my best. So here, then you select the project. Then you go to enable actually the API, so we can connect with Gmail. So this is also a good thing. The scope is limited. You do not have to give it access to something that you don't want it to touch. You go to enabling. You search for Gmail, enable it. Then you search for Google Tasks API the same way. You enable that too. Once you enable, you go to this authentication screen, where you're actually now going to make the authentication itself. Again, we're making some kind of an app, email assistant. Here you can add your own email, obviously. It has to be external, so it's going to be in testing thing. It's not going to be something internal. Google doesn't let you do that. I don't know why. Contact information, again, your personal email, and then you create. After that, you create the actual client, which is going to be your custom GPT. With that, web application, web client 1, doesn't matter what it is. And here you can create it and download the JSON. And this is where I am right now. So I have my project and project info, project settings. Where is this? Okay. No, not like that. No, not this. Where is it? Cancel. Okay. So we go to our post. Okay, we go to our screen, authentication screen. Why don't I get this? Okay, audience, data, here it is, clients. So I need to see my client, which I just made, which when you actually do this, you will get this. And what do you get? I'm gonna turn this off. You can see client ID and client secret. So you copy that from here to actually authorize your application. Where is the secret? Can I copy that from here? I'm not sure if that's gonna copy. I'm not sure if I can copy the. No, I cannot. Oopsie. It doesn't let me copy it, which is weird. Okay. You add that. These URLs, again, you can find in Gmail and Google Cloud documentation, which this is not something that you should know. This is something that you should just find. And it is something I have prepared already here. So we have these URLs that we copy here, here, and here. Now I'm going to switch to my working email assistant to actually show you how it works because I don't know why I cannot copy my secret. Token exchange method, we go to basic authorization and we basically save this. I'm not going to save it now, but you save this. What is also important to do here, once you actually finish these actions, I don't want to save a login. When you go here, you will, okay. I will now officially go to the one that it's done, so I can show you how it works at GPT. Okay, so once you add your actions, your authentication, etc., you will get this callback URL. What is very important is for you to copy it and go to authorize redirect URLs and add it. Here you can see for me it's already added. This is very important because if not, then you're not going to be able to connect to your application. Why? Because it needs to be authorized. So it's very important to add that and save it. Also a very important thing, because your application is not published, you need to add yourself as a test user to be actually be able to connect. What can you do today? Let's see how this works. Check my unread emails. For example, will you work? Please work. Today is not my day. I'm very sorry. Okay, now we have to sign in. I'm using my personal email. Imagine if Dante doesn't work. I will start to scream. I'm very sorry. I will start to scream. Oh, connected. I feel like a child with a toy. Okay, so it's connected. Let's check my unread emails from today. Again, security feature, you can allow it or not allow it, and you can actually see what's happening. So at least something. You are giving your kidney away to OpenAI, but at least they ask you nicely about it. So here are some of my unread emails. This is from my bank, from Serbia, low urgency. And continue. Let's see some more emails. I'm gonna go always allow. I'm gonna be risky like that. I don't recommend it, by the way. I have some from Revolut, of course. Continue. Oopsie. Then something there, etc., etc. So now you can just talk with this. You can ask it to draft you a response. You can ask it to send it, and it's gonna send it. Add your tasks to Google, then you can open them and see in Google Tasks, etc. So in order to not get kicked out, I'm gonna come back quickly to finish this. Some AI in JetBrains. What do we have? We have our AI assistant, which is basically like a copilot that is integrated into all of our IDs. Then we have Junie, which is basically like our version of Cloud Code, Codex, etc. So it's an AI agent that is integrated directly. It is also bring your own code, so you can use it with OpenAI or any type of model that you want, or cloud, etc. This is an AI playground. This is a new thing, and I really like it, and it's not very much talked about, but it's a good thing, especially if you want to see how different models react. You can open it. You can add here a bunch of models from OpenAI, cloud, more or less anything local, Llama also. You can configure some parameters of it, and you can give it the same prompt to see what it's going to say. So this is very useful when you want to see how different models behave, or how the same models behave, but with different temperature or top P, etc.